Today we will study speaking situation. Generally, when people study speaking, they use a gradual method. Progressively, people start practicing with greetings such as hello and how are you. In the meantime, they hope that someday they will be able to speak English fluently. Another common method is a belief that if they memorize and master some patterns of conversation, they can use them later, because they remember the process of speaking their native language. First of all, let's forget how children learn to speak the gradual way. This is because the student who wants to learn to speak English as a foreign language through this video is not a child. I can't imagine how much time it will take to learn step by step from hello. It's also not fun because you only have to study and memorize conversations that don't fit your level. Above all, we need to learn enjoyable and challenging that fits our intellectual, emotional, and situational levels, not too young. Learning is not something someone develops. Learners themselves have to develop their own methods through the English study link that I gave you last time. I'm just giving you directions. Consider the situation in which you are going to talk. You may not have experienced speaking confidently in English, so let's consider the speaking situation which you speak Mongolian. There are 5 aspects in speaking situation. You must say something without making any sentences beforehand. Have you ever made plans to get pocket money from your parents for a special purpose you cannot tell them? I have. Let's imagine you're in this situation. We think about what to say to our father or mother. However, that doesn't mean that we have to create and memorize sentences in advance. We just think to lie that we have to buy an expensive book or that we must buy it. Depending on the situation in which you start the conversation, the method or content of expression may be completely different. We cannot create all possible sentences in advance. We can only make a simple plan before speaking to our parents. No matter how many good examples of conversations you have memorized, when it comes to a real situation where similar content is used, the memorized things will become useless depending on the surrounding situations. To speak English well, memorizing many sentences is not the solution. I'm not talking about studying English words or learning sentences. It is that memorizing English sentences does not make you good at speaking. You must say something in a situation. You can say hello in a variety of ways, depending on your relationship with the other person, their mood, your mood, the weather, time, and social context. It is very important to consider these situations because the people you are talking to can have a different culture. Even the greeting, good morning, can be felt in various ways depending on the rhythm and intonation of the words and the expression or attitude of the speaker, like good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? There are also several types. Hello, good morning, how are you? You can also say like this. We can't write all expressions in a book, and we can't have every situation ready. You must continue to say something. One of the things that is wrong when learning conversation is that people only practice until they learn. You can't stop speaking if you can't remember a word. Therefore, the goal of speaking fluently is wrong. When people speak, if they can't think of the good expressions, change their emotions, change their attitude, or just habitually, they stutter, hesitate, and pause while talking. The point to remember is that we can't speak like an announcer who delivers the news. So, don't be too scared to keep talking. Once you have started talking to the other person, you should continue talking until you stop, in agreement with the other person or until you are in a situation where you stop talking. You can't stop talking just because what you've learned is no longer left. Therefore, it is impossible to have a conversation by memorizing it. The basic of speaking is that you have to keep speaking. You can repeat what you have just said if you want. The advantage of speaking is that you can repeat what you just said over and over again. Let's suppose the immigration officer at an international airport asks about the job of a foreign tourist. What's your occupation? The traveler does not know what he is saying and looks at him. There is no need to say, I don't know. The immigration officer can immediately feel that this person did not understand. Ask again, almost immediately. What do you do? It turns out that it was still not delivered, so he asks again. What's your job? I mean, your job. Are you a businessman? Then the traveler answers, yes. It cannot always be concluded so well in real life. The immigration officer can misunderstand the traveler as terrorist rather than businessman. Anyway, the important thing about this example is that speaking can be repeated. Choose one content for a conversation, then just say, using as many expressions as you can, like this example. If you take the time to speak slowly, you can speak comfortably. You must say something simultaneously with your feeling. I love you. Say it once. How do you say this? The background situation should be set. Julie, I love you, not Mary. It means, Julie, I love you. I don't love Mary. And Julie, I love you, not Oliver. This means, Julie, I love you. Oliver doesn't love you. And Julie, I love you. I don't hate you. It means, I don't hate you. I love you. With each of these thoughts, say I love you 3 times. They are different. It's not just the rhythm of the sentence that changes. The speaker's facial expressions and gestures also change, because they have different feelings. When practicing speaking English, you should remember and use the situational conditions that I mentioned. Is there another important point? You have to find it yourself. I can't explain all of the situations in this video. Let's practice while thinking about how language is expressed in conversation. How to speak English in front of people. In the future, you will study how to introduce yourself in English. As you practice, you will find problems. If you don't have enough English skills to introduce yourself, It can't be changed tomorrow. We have no choice but to do your best now. By the way, it is not easy to open your mouth and speak up in front of people, even if it's your native language. But if you don't start, there's no end. Just start. Here are some ways to calm down. Relax. Don't be afraid. Don't be so nervous. Just think you're talking to a friend in front of you. Think of the person listening to you as your friend, not your enemy. We are not writing the script for an official speech right now. So, when you speak, think that the other person is your friend and you're sitting comfortably and talking to the friend right next to you. Such attitudes and feelings make it easy to speak. Face the other person's eyes in a friendly manner. Speak with a comfortable mind. Don't worry, just be happy. And do it with a good feeling. The other person must understand, so try to speak as clearly as possible. Your lack of English skills may not be a problem. If the other person's English skill is less than yours, there is no problem. If the other person's English skill is better than you, he or she will be able to help you. Use your conversation partners according to their level. To do that, it's a good way for you to speak clearly and slowly. Use other communication skills. Facial expressions and gestures are important communication skills. How to get the other person to fall into your story. How to get them to agree with your opinion. How to get others to join your plan. Speaking is just a part of it. Use easier expressions. When you speak English, it's bad for you to use difficult words that you can't pronounce well or difficult phrases that you have to memorize. Use expressions that are as easy as possible. For example, for verbs, try to frequently use simple words like is, are, have, go, come, take, love, like, enjoy. Don't try to use difficult words or phrases. Even when speaking in Mongolian, remember that if you can't remember a word or phrase, what you want to say, you can find other ways to express it and say it. For example, if you try to say, she was my friend from kindergarten, even if you can't remember the word kindergarten, that doesn't mean you can't say that story. You can speak naturally by finding other ways. For example, she was my classmate when I was young. I met her when I was 5 years old. If you say like this, it is the same as the previous one. Then in the case of someone who speaks English well, oh, you're the classmate in the kindergarten. The person may respond by using difficult words. Always use easy expressions first and often. This will make you speak with confidence. Control the situation. When speaking with native speakers in English, we are the ones who cannot speak English well. It is a tragedy for us to let someone who speaks English well lead the conversation. Try to control the pace of the conversation. You need to stop the other person who speeds up at their own pace. Excuse me? Beg your pardon? What? Did you say blah blah? The proper use of these expressions is an important start in conversation with native speakers. Don't be shy about saying that, and try to enjoy the conversation together. If your partner understands your efforts, it will be a fun conversation. 4 steps for speaking training in English. Step 1. Have a basic attitude of conversation. You must look into the other person's eyes. There may be cultural differences for Westerners. If you don't look into their eyes when talking, they will think you're not honest and that you're hiding something or even lying. You need a mindset to have a close relationship. There is a saying that the eye is the window of the heart. By looking straight into the conversation partner's eyes and talking, you can quickly feel their state of mind. As I said earlier, 70% of communication is delivered by facial expressions or gestures, not words, unless you need to communicate accurately in words, such as when you have to testify in court or make a claim. So, even if you can't speak well, there are no problems in communication. Therefore, before you start talking, you should express your attitude to make a positive relationship with the person you're talking to. Step 2. Speaking with the basic structure of English. We studied sentence structure together before. Do you remember? An English sentence mostly have all 3 phrases of subject, verb, object. Probably most of the students study vocabulary a lot, so they already know the key words they want to say, but a single word doesn't make sense. For example, saying happy, you might think you talk to the other person, are you in a good mood? But in most cases, native speakers are confused about who is happy. It is correct to say, are you happy? Of course, you don't have to say everything formally between your close friends, but that's the exception. And in most cases, you should use the right sentences. You have to practice while paying attention to the sentence structure. In the last sentence structure study, I said that the key in English sentence is verb. The same goes for speaking. You have to be trained to find the right verbs every time you speak. Speak your thoughts in English. You can pause for a while after the subject. It can be difficult to come up with verbs while speaking. You should be able to speak basic sentences automatically, like, how much is it? Where is the city hall? My name is Chris. Long time no see. I visited my hometown last weekend. But if you're trying to say something that isn't simple, you have to think of a new verb right away. In this case, a short pause after the subject gives you time to think. For example, if you get a question, what did you do yesterday? You may not remember well, and you may not be able to think of verbs in sentences to express your experience. You can naturally take a pause in this way after a subject. I don't know. I met my friend. Step 4. Thinking while speaking. The important thing is not to memorize the sentence in your head, but to say it naturally. If you train hard to speak English, the moment will come that you can speak without considering. If you think you're talking like a story, you can speak naturally. For example, let's say you want to say that your younger brother works as a driver in the military. It would be difficult if you were trying to say this perfectly translated into one sentence. So, you can awkwardly say, my younger brother is a driving soldier. This sentence sounds too unnatural. If you make it in story, as follows, you can speak naturally and people can understand it well. I have a brother, he is younger than me. I'm 22 years old and he is 20 years old. I like him. He is now in the army. He is a soldier, he is driving a tank. You see, I'm proud of him. Isn't it much more natural? Today, we have learned a lot of things. We thought about the speaking situation, and we learned how to speak English in front of people. Also, we learned what to do when practicing conversation. Based on the link that I gave you in studying with answers or what you personally study with, practice speaking out by using what you learned today. Next time, we will study writing one. If you have any questions, please email me. Thank you for watching this video and see you next time.